Hey, you may not have already saw the video I just did on this. I literally just said I hope y'all have a great day and hit the stop button. But for the sake of the fact that I already have the tools out, I want to go through the Smith's handheld hand manual knife tool. So we're going to go through that real quick and I'm going to show you how to use it. Now in my last video I did kind of show you how to use this as opposed to how easy the electric version is. But what I didn't show you is how to sharpen one of these. Now there is a handheld tool that you can just drag through and it makes it sharp the easiest and the best and maybe even the safest. However, I cannot do it on this electrical. So I had mentioned this one, and then I showed you the appropriate way to sharpen a knife, but not the appropriate way to sharpen this kind of knife. So what I intend to do is just give you a regular tool review, but while giving you a regular tool review, actually show you how you would use this as an alternative, because you can't sharpen a curved blade with that electric tool over there. You don't want to go shoving this down all up inside the internals and hit a wire or something. It's just bluntly unsafe. So I'm going to pick the coarse side simply because that's a little rougher and I just aim to get it sharp. I'm not polishing it up to make it look new or anything nice. I pick the yellow side, which is sharp. I mean coarse. I put the blade on and I'm trying to keep the blade at the edge angle, the edge angle, the angle of the edge that it's going to be at, and then I pull both of them away like that. But I'll do it up here so you can kind of get a better idea of what angle I'm doing this at. So I have the blade angled to be on the coarse sandstone or soapstone, and I'm dragging it almost as if I'm pulling them both away. And with that, I am twisting my wrists so that I'm going down this curved edge. I'm still holding the knife at the angle I need to hold it so that I am getting all the blade. Okay, now I'll try to show you an inverted. Okay, I'm kind of pulling away like that. But again, and I don't know if I've really pressed this. This is a knife laying flat. This is a knife on its edge. That edge is the angle that you want to grind, like that. You don't want to just run it across the side of the blade. You actually have an angle here, and that angle is where the blade cuts things. You can kind of see a shining edge and then the actual blade. Where that light hits just right, that is the blade, which is on the angle. The whole thing may be a blade, depending on terminology and the way people use words, but there's a blade edge that I consider the blade. You know, I can hold this, I can handle this, but I don't want to handle that. And with a lot of these curved edges, you may find that very last centimeter, half a centimeter, half a millimeter, whatever, is just not quite getting sharp, and it's probably because it starts to fall off when it. So you're going to want to go back and make sure each side has been done, and then you might want to give a little extra attention to that final little lip right there at the end, just to make sure that it's been given its attention. And that is how you would cut or shave or sharpen a curved edge or a eagle toe or a fang blade. I think I heard a guy at work call it a dragon's foot the other day with one of these. Now, since this video is about this and not about the electric, I do want to actually go into full detail. This has the feature of being able to store, and you can put a string through it, maybe a paracord string if you're going to be taking it with you in the woods camping. And it's not electric, so you can do it yourself without any electricity. And you can do this and kind of give yourself a handle to it. Now I would apply a little pressure on the side to ensure that it doesn't go anywhere. But it actually is a sturdy handle. But there is just a tiniest bit of slop. You can feel it. So when I put it in there, I apply some pressure to kind of make sure I'm holding it in place. What holds it is this little bump here. It holds it when you put it in this way, and it holds it when you put it in this way. So either way, it's holding it. But if I'm going to be applying pressure and sharpening a knife, last thing I want to do is send it down the street. So I'm holding it to use it. And it gives you a little extra leverage to make sure that you're doing it properly. And you really shouldn't apply too much pressure, but it gives you a choice to behave the way you would. Some people would be so super gentle with it that it takes forever to sharpen a blade. Usually you take it, you put your blade on it, and you do 3 times, and that's about all that you need if you're just maintaining a sharp blade. Now it does come with coarse and fine. Now I'm not entirely familiar with coarse and fine, but I know coarse is rougher than fine. Fine, you'd be smoothing it out, and it's already sharp, it's already pretty, but you're just giving it that little extra. Coarse, on the other hand, it's roughing up the blade, it's removing more metal, it's allowing the blade to get sharper quicker. Now, I would use a fine on a ceramic blade if you can sharpen ceramic with one of these. I don't know. I don't own any ceramic. I've only ever used the coarse because the coarse works pretty good. Now, I have loaned this to people and I have seen them use the fine side, which is why when you run your finger across my fine side, you do get some dust. It has been used, but not by me. And the last feature is that both sides have a line going through them. It's kind of a ridge. That ridge is for, you guessed it, fishing hooks. You take your fishing hook and you drag through there to sharpen the fishing hook for catching fish, which is one of the reasons that this one is so great for taking camping and fishing. And maybe if you were a survivalist, you would want to put something like this in your bug out bag, because yes, putting a knife or two in there is great, but if you don't have something to maintain that knife, after a couple of days that knife is no longer going to be good. So even though adding things like this to your bug out bag may be increasing the weight, I would argue that this is not heavy. It's not even a pound, I don't believe. It's definitely worth it. But that's not why I'm here today. I'm not advertising for this product, and I'm not here to tell you what should go in your bug out bag. Smith's handheld knife sharpening kit. Knife sharpening tool. I believe I purchased it for about $15, and I believe I purchased it about 4 or 5 years ago. And I have not had any trouble using it. Nothing bad has happened with it. It hasn't broken. I haven't had to do anything special to it. And I had been told one time by a guy that I was horribly misusing it, that you're supposed to wet the stone. And maybe you're supposed to. But I don't even remember the instructions that came with it. And I would say that you should read the instructions, and if it says wet the stone, wet the stone. But I don't, and I don't have any trouble with it. And since I've had it for 4 years, if I do somehow prematurely wear this product up, then so be it. It was cheap enough that for how good a job it does with my blades, I'm not all that concerned. I feel like it's pretty much impossible to just blatantly, accidentally misuse this. But if you do, it's probably something that's going to hurt you and not the product. I will stress that you wouldn't want to pull to you like that. You would never want to pull to you sharpening the blade, because you're sharpening and then you're, gonna hurt yourself. And that's one of the little pieces of advice that I feel like if you took me to court over it, I couldn't get sued about. I'm telling you to be safe, and that is a bluntly dangerous thing to do. Please don't do that. Like, and I'm showing you this for reference. I'm not gonna put any pressure or force behind me, but don't pull it to you. Okay? Bad idea. Just bluntly don't do that. Most of y'all will not need that being stated, but there are people all over the planet that seem to feel like they're victims and that things are always someone else's fault. So because I didn't mention it, they may feel like that I caused that problem. Do not pull to you with the knife sharpening with this thing. There's nothing on here that will prevent it from hurting you. There is no safety mechanism. This is intended to fix your blade from being dull. It's upkeep on your blade. It's preventative maintenance. It is not a safety thing for you. You have to use your brain. You have to be careful. You have to apply the appropriate angle to your blade, and you may even need to wet it. I can't speak for that one, but I mean, I don't like the idea of applying water to something like this. It's just not the way I function. I mean, you wouldn't pour water into this one. So, anywho, the Smith's handheld knife sharpening tool sells for between $18 to $22 now. Depending on where you are and the inflation, it may be upwards of $25 and $26, simply because everything is illogically expensive nowadays. But for me, when I bought it, this was a really good one, and I don't know that I would pay upwards of $22 for this. Things are getting to the point where you can't buy it unless you're just willing to spend the money. If I didn't have a sharpening kit, if I didn't have this one, the small one that's missing from both of these videos, and the electric one, would I purchase this one again at $22, $24, $26? Yes, but only because that seems to be the price that we're paying nowadays. I would blame Joe Biden for that, but you know what? I will go ahead and say it does have holes here, and I've seen them before, but these holes are actually probably for when you get it wet, the water drips out the bottom. Yeah, I will say I'm probably using that wrong. And I feel like somebody will correct me in the comments too and tell me that I've been wrong and cuss me out and fuss me out and tell me how it's causing my product to prematurely wear. But that is how I've been using it, and I can't correct that. Moving forward, I may wet this, but I'm going to go on Google and do the right thing and Google that. While I'm still in front of the camera, though, I'd like to state that I haven't been doing it that way, and it's up to you to read the manual and do it properly. I am going to find out the information before I sharpen anything else. But it's been a great tool for me, and I would give that 4 out of 5. If you remember, this one I gave 3 out of 5. So that does mean that I'm giving that one a little bit more preference than this one. And the reason is because of the fishing hook sharpener. This is more usable when the power goes out. It's more usable when you're on a boat. It's more usable when you're camping. It's more usable when you're hiking. You should never need to, but if you're mountain biking and you're mountain biking because you're traveling long distances, maybe you're homeless, maybe it's just a challenge, you're trying to get from point A to point B, and it's a multiple day excursion on your mountain bike, maybe carry one of these, because you're probably going to use a knife instead of a spoon, a knife instead of a fork, a knife to cut your paracord, a knife to, if your tent messes up and you need to cut something, you're probably going to get your pants stuck in your chain at least once, and you're going to need to cut that. So you're probably going to need a knife with you if you're going on an excursion like that, and I would just bring something to sharpen it, because that crap will come up again and again and again. For most of you normal human beings out there, you have no clue what I'm talking about. Well, mountain bike riders and traveling bicyclists are a thing. And these people will go on 2 or 3 day rides. Some of them have gone on month-long rides, and they travel large portions of America or other states or other countries, and they have just like a tent on their back, a small set of food rations, and their bike. And these people just fucking go. And if they're going to go, they should have a knife and they should have a thing to sharpen it with. And I would highly suggest this because if you're going with just small amounts of food, you're probably fishing. This one has the fish hook thing. If I ever do find it, I do have a smaller sharpener and I will do a video on that one. But don't expect it today because even though I have been through this entire house with my moving process, I have not seen that one yet. So, doesn't look like it's likely to happen, but you can expect that video in the future. And I hope that you have a great day. Um, Maybe if you're out today casually looking for knives and you've pulled up my video, maybe this will casually looking for sharpeners. Maybe this will help you in one direction or the other. But whatever you're doing, just stay safe out there. Have a great day, but stay safe out there.